Of that cycle, you can't break it.
Yeah, then we're having another one. What?
What have we done?
The adult beverages are poured, the kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 2-year-old and one on the way. Had to think about it.
My name's Gavin. I have a 1.5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Yeah, as soon as the 1-year-old, I'm like, oh, that's not the case. I was like, 1.5. Well, no, like I chopped it off. He's now 2, and I was like, well, there's a new one on the. How old is? Well, he's not an age. He's negative. T minus.
Negative.
T minus whatever.
Is good. Launch date.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I guess I'll launch into it. I think like the.
Oh God.
Yeah, let me spin you a yarn. No, it's just it's the cutest thing that has since happened. So it seems like my dog and my son have just like crossed this perfect like understanding or age group. So it seems like he's mellow enough. The dog is mellow enough, and the son is mellow enough that he's started to walk him. So we'll go to the park, and he wants to hold the leash. So the two of them just go. Like it's darling. It's unbelievable. And the dog's fine because like, all right, cool. I could just like, I'm a fan of this erratic behavior. I don't have to walk in a straight line. This is great. Yeah. And the kid's happy because like, it's a dog. Like he's running around.
Well, and you have a pug, right? We're not talking German Shepherd.
Yeah.
That, like...
my son can now overpower this dog.
Yeah, like your son didn't get lashed to like a sled dog and
just just drag it across. But and then additionally, and then there's the in between part. So in the park itself, it's just chaos, circles, whatever. But on the way in between, it's like sidewalks and kind of back roads, whatever else. And it's this moment where he's just walking by himself, and he's walking my dog, and I'm not pushing him, I'm not holding his hand, I'm not chasing him. Like we're just kind of all walking together in a straight line. It's just like, oh, that's beautiful. Like there's no connection, there's no limitation. It's just like that. And then the first thing that comes into my mind is, damn it, there's another one on the way.
Restart.
It's like I've just achieved this moment, which is like there's some semblance of
self-reliance.
Like, and the first thing my head just drifted to is like, oh, there's another one, right? This is like a couple months, and then like it's right, and then I have no idea how that works. It's just like unless he can push the stroller. And somehow
it's good though, because like now you're in the clear with the first one, that the next one comes. Imagine trying to handle the storm of a newborn when your firstborn wasn't in the clear yet. Like when your firstborn hadn't hit that mellow plateau, being like, yeah, Dad, I got this. I know how to walk. I know how to. I'm somewhat self-sufficient. Like if he was still like you had to carry or push or hold hand or things like that, on top of a newborn baby, then it would be so like there's silver lining there. Like right in the nick of time, your son's hit this threshold. Like your son's hit this milestone of being a little bit more independent, and like it couldn't have come at a better time, because that's when you need your son to be like, all right, just can you walk the dog?
You could. A 2-year-old.
Here's some money. Just we need some eggs.
You can't speak, but just actually he knows how to say egg. Mostly in Spanish, huevo. Well, he loves that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Like, huevo.
He'll be fine.
So. Yeah, so not to think of it negatively, but it was just the funny thing. I've had a similar thought, but in a negative light, in the sense that he's currently regressed everywhere else. Like he as I was lamenting before we start recording, is that his bedtime is now shifted anywhere from 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. So late. His naps are like incredibly late in the afternoon. He's not eating anything. I don't know how he's not a skeleton, because he just doesn't eat any food. It's mostly just like milk and cheese and yogurt.
What is that like? Because my kids eat everything
Oh man,
twice.
I would trade you. I would trade you so fast.
I have no food in the house because they eat everything.
Like, I'm so hungry.
My kid is. We have to give her meal like a bite at a time. Like we have
Are
to
you
set
serious?
individual things on her tray because if she decides that she doesn't want to eat oranges, all the oranges are off the tray. So if we give her all of that, but then midway through the meal she'll decide that, oh, I do want oranges now. But her way of telling us she doesn't want oranges is to just clear her whatever's in front of her. So if we give her all her food at once, and one of the many items on there is something she didn't want, her response is to throw everything off. So we have to stagger and but then a lot of it winds up on the floor. I'm looking forward to when she has moments where she's just like, I'm like, where are you putting this?
Yeah,
But most of the time, it's a bit of a battle to get her to eat. It's same with you, Trevor. It's a lot of milk and cheese. She loves
that is
cheese.
crazy to me. Like we go out to restaurants
Yours,
and those buffets, they're like they look at these kids like, oh my God, we're losing so much money. Like,
They eat at a buffet,
yeah,
man.
man, like they wolf that stuff down. That's the cheapest night we could do is a buffet.
Pack it in for two, kid. Jeez.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I'd go to buffets and I would. I remember I would turn some heads because I wasn't a very big kid, but I just like must have like a hollow leg or something.
Exactly.
And yeah, that was the same. My parents would be like, "All right, we're going to a buffet."
Save some money.
Yeah, it's
But
like
that's right. Yeah. So yeah, the summer. I mean, so it's funny because we also think that like this regression is almost well timed. It's almost like it's better to deal with it now, because if he regressed as soon as the baby showed up,
yeah,
just be new baby chaos, old baby
yeah.
chaos, just like across the board. So we're thankful about that. But gents, how was your week? Oh, and I didn't play anything like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The game of
just,
life.
just to summarize mine, I turned on Nathan Drake or Uncharted, spun it up like maybe 5 minutes. I'm like, well, that was nice. Put it
That was
down,
it, eh?
put it down and walked out of the room. Gentlemen, yourselves, how was your week in fatherhood and gaming?
Well, I finished Uncharted 4,
Nice.
Ooh,
Good
so my
job.
disc stopped spinning.
does it all
But
does it all turn well?
Well, you can't say
it
that.
was it was a very fun adventure.
Yeah. Good.
And I will say it's got one of the best epilogues I've seen in a game. Um, I even like my wife stayed up late to watch it because she's like, "Oh, how's this ending?" It's like so. It was that engrossing of a narrative. So it does have a very satisfying conclusion. So yeah, no,
Great.
I really enjoyed it. And I this week you'll be happy to hear, Trevor. I finally dipped my toe in No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I got it for a really good price, and I'm like, yeah, I'll roll the dice on that price. And yeah, it's very like it's very pleasing. It's a very uh, calm, meditative experience. Like I like it. It's a fun sort of just I just want to explore and go to a new planet and see new plants and animals and find new resources and stuff and like slowly try to improve on things. The one thing is every time I go to a space station, I always see all these ships. I'm like, oh, that one's so much nicer than mine. That one.
How much does it cost? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
it's
well, this
it's
reminds me of real life.
one of the
Okay.
biggest lures is like that whole keeping up with the Joneses, except you have a galaxy of Joneses. Um, yeah, no, it's been a very pleasurable experience. So I've been digging it. It's fun. And I picked up two other games. Uh, the infamous First Light,
Oh yeah.
that little spin-off one.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I've never played an Infamous game, but I'm like,
Oh, in for a treat.
yep, I'm excited. And I picked up God of War 3. because I never got a chance to play the third one. I played the first two on the PS2, but then I missed the PS3 generation. So I'm like, okay, let's give that a shot. And as far as dad stuff goes, last week I got some extra time to hang out with my daughter. Unfortunately, it was because my wife was sick. So I took a couple extra days off work last week. But it was nice. We got some bonus quality time together. There's a class that she takes at the local community center. Like she takes 2 classes there a week. They're just sort of like little activity classes, and one of them my wife does, and one of them I do. But this week I got to do both. It was kind of cool. Yeah, and then lots of getting things ready for Mother's Day and all that fun stuff. So we had a nice Sunday. Visited my parents. Went to a nice like classic diner for a good brunch in a just over in Oshawa there, which is near Toronto. For those of you who are not aware of the Greater Toronto area. So yeah, really good diner food. I got a Reuben because it's my favorite, and our daughter ate lots of French fries and put lots of French fry grease in her hair. But she was a trooper. She was very playful with my mom and dad, which was good to see. And yeah, and I got to spoil the wife a little bit. My big gift to her was I cleaned up the accident that my daughter had in the bathtub during that
Oh,
time.
right, yeah.
So that was the big present for her
Oh,
that day. Was I handled it. But
I wrapped
fun
it in a bow.
fact, not my first time cleaning fecal matter out of a bathtub. So
I can
I
say
was
I've never
I was
had that.
experienced. When
Never.
we moved into an apartment a while back, and they had a sewage issue, and we were on the first floor. So we were the front line of the sewage issue, and I had to basically the bathtub had stuff coming into it, including the stuff I'd have to bilge from the toilet so it wouldn't go on the floor. It was a mess.
Oh,
That sounds so bad.
oh wow. Ow. Okay.
So anyway, so I took one for the team because I'm like, whatever, I've seen worse. So
That was before kids, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
that just you're like, whatever, dirty diaper.
Yeah, at least mine made this. Yeah, like
Oh yeah, no, my tolerance for that sort of stuff going into parenthood, like I had a very high tolerance because like
I
my first
guess
job
so.
was a busboy. Like this, when you peel a pancake off the bottom of your shoe, like you get a pretty strong stomach. So
then you eat it. You
Oh,
know,
then you eat it. Hey, those busboy
hungry man.
chips, they're not that great.
Jeff, how
So
about yourself?
Yeah, it was pretty I guess calm weekend for Mother's Day for dadding. The kids we got the mom a coffee in the morning, coffee and some cards and some pictures, and they make all sorts of crazy stuff at school now, so they brought that all home. Gave that to
So
her.
your job is done. It's like,
Yeah.
thanks, school.
Well, you're still on. Yeah. So, but this is where the eating comes in. We got brunch to have a whole bunch of fruit and breads and stuff. So we ate all that, and then we went to grandma's, and they had a full pasta Italian lunch. So they ate 2 lunches, a brunch and a lunch, and then got home and wanted more. They wanted dessert, which they don't have lunch dessert, but that's lunch number 3 if they wanted it. We said no, but they didn't like that. So they just eat and eat and eat. I don't get it. So,
and they're the same age too. Like, was your oldest that insatiable when he was your
oh
youngest?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
he
is
was.
that like, and it hasn't stopped since. Like, he
I.
hit that age.
It's got to be genetic or something. I mean, I don't think I was like that, but
Yeah, I don't remember you being insatiable though. Like all the years we hung out, like I don't remember like, oh, there goes eating Jeff. Like,
no, there he's going again. I'm like, where is he putting it?
not the
Yeah,
paint, Jeff. Come on, stop eating.
I don't get it. So they have like bottomless pits that we just is the money pit that we shovel food into.
Just shuffling money into like, oh no.
You have to grocery shop twice a week. It becomes an issue.
Wow.
But in terms of gaming, I played a couple more VR demos. Static, where you have your hands kind of in this puzzle block. It's almost like one of those finger traps,
Oh yeah,
and you have
yeah.
to kind of look around to figure out the puzzle. That's kind of neat. It's kind of trippy too, because you kind of feel like your hands are tied because they're tied to the controller, right? So you kind of feel like you're in the game looking at this puzzle. So that was a kind of neat one. And then I played a bunch of Dirt Rally VR again because it's awesome. And I downloaded that Prey demo. So I got a taste of that. It was quite different than what I was expecting, but it was a neat little demo. You don't see too many demos nowadays. So that was almost a treat to have, right?
Demo. Like, it was really cool to play a demo. It's like when I
Yeah.
played it as well, I was like, I miss this. Like, I miss just like, I remember on my 360, I downloaded a whole bunch of demos
Yeah.
and I just play them. And then if they won me over, I'd buy the game. And it was a
Yeah.
very good system. It was more reliable than reviews. Like, it had a better effect on me than seeing positive reviews. I'm shocked developers aren't doing that anymore. I'm not sure kind of why that drifted away, but
I don't know. Like even on PS3 when PS Plus came out, you could do full trial demos. So you get an hour with the full game. And that was like a perk of the system. That doesn't happen anymore. It's just you might get a discount on the full game, so it's $78 instead of 89 or whatever it is now. So,
when you just say it out loud, it's like, oh, that's so pricey for a game.
So expensive, but
which is even, I guess, more reason to do demos. You know, like if they're becoming a bigger investment, so it's like you're gonna want to hook your audience. Like, gonna be a lot more hesitation. Although when you see sales numbers like some of the AAA studios are pushing, it's like, well, obviously it's not affecting too much. So
no, people buy everything.
Remember like the PS1? We got a PS1 fairly early. And I remember we didn't buy a lot of games for it, so like that demo disc, like we almost like wore that thing through.
Oh yeah,
like, we played that thing so much.
I love demo discs. You remember? Okay, this is going way back, and like all you young listeners, you know,
yeah, come up to the hearth and
yeah, you youngins gather around the fire. You know, Kevin's got a story for you. Way back when, in the days of PC Gamer magazine, I remember buying that magazine, and it would come with a demo disc. Like every issue, there'd be a demo disc, and on that demo disc was just a bunch of nice little PC demos. Sometimes you'd really like hit the lottery and be like, oh yeah, this is gold. It's like I got like 4 real solid ones on here. But yeah, I remember that, and like that was a really good way to keep, like, back then too. Like we didn't have blogs like and gaming news sites and things like that. It was all like this stuff where they grind up trees and they smush it really small, and then they put ink on it, and then they put little metal bits to hold all those things together.
Yeah, they grab octopi and they just like squeeze out.
They chisel it in stone to let you know what new technology is coming out. But yeah, I remember that there was something kind of neat about it. There was a sense of discovery, and I think we lose that by not having demos. Like even if it's a download off the the network, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think PC games still do it a little bit, which is nice, but I wish there was more of it. I guess now we have early access, but that's like you still pay to get in.
Yeah.
But having that free little sample to be like, it's like an amuse-bouche, and it gets you all like, I like this. I want some more.
Even expose you to other things too, right? Like a lot of the stuff that you wouldn't have touched, you could look at and I don't know, get into.
And genres that you would normally never really gravitate towards. And it's like, this isn't my cup of tea, but I'll give it a shot. Why not? And it's like, I really like this. And it wouldn't have mattered how many good reviews you would have read about that game. You still wouldn't have done it because your assumptions were, I don't like that type of stuff. But then you try it and you're like, yeah, this is totally it.
I wonder if there is a story behind it, because I mean with the Prey demo, like clearly, I imagine that was on PlayStation. Right?
The other way I did,
so clearly it's capable. Like the network and the system supports it. So like, what's the holdup from everybody just doing the demo? Like, why would people not release one level? Is it like timelines are so tight that you have no time to possibly? Maybe a demo's like honestly about a decent little chunk of work to get like that one.
It's like compartmentalize
totally contained.
Like, it's like this is all you're getting. It's tough because like even with Prey, they don't have a PC demo.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's weird.
I don't think Bethesda fully explained why. I
Oh,
think it
because
might
of
have.
the Steam refund. That's what they said.
That was
People
it. Yeah,
hated that. Yeah.
they're like, yeah, just play it, and if you don't like it, use the Steam refund. And it's
Yeah.
like, or you could just
Make a
put the
demo.
same demo build that you PlayStation and Xbox. Um, yeah, so that was kind of weird. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Like, is it because you have a lot of games that are releasing right up to the wire and they don't have a stable enough demo build and they don't want to dedicate the resources to compartmentalize content in a manner that's digestible for a demo? Um, but like, I don't know. Like, demos have sold me on games. Like, I'm probably gonna pick up Prey because I really like the demo. Um, Just Cause 2, I played that demo more than I played most games. And then I bought the game and played it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's I don't know. I really don't know.
It's got to be
Maybe
sales driven. It has to be. Because why wouldn't you keep the hype train going? Like, here's a demo to tide you over and
yeah.
go. Unless assets aren't ready to go. And then that's kind of scary that they're working up to the last minute,
Well, but you
stamping
see
the.
that like you see that with a lot like Just Cause 3, like those load times they had to patch it in. And you see
Yeah.
a lot of games being finished with patches. So like no wonder they don't have a demo. It's not done yet.
Yeah. Well, even
The
when
full game's a demo.
well, day one patch, right? Like most
Yeah.
games now, and the size of the download for the update, especially if you've bought the disc,
Yeah.
is like day one update, like 12 gigs, and you're like,
Yeah.
is it a blank disc? Like what is on this?
Yeah.
Like this disc can't even hold 12. What on earth?
Yeah, it's like they're
Like
doing all these day one patches, I think, because it is just a matter of like they're working to the 11th hour. So no wonder there's no demo because it wasn't finished yet. Like yeah,
yeah,
and yeah, you see like how much content has to get downloaded day one. Like
yeah,
it makes you wonder like what is actually on the disc. Like yeah, is it is it just blank? Is this a coaster? Is it just like a branded coaster? Is
yeah. I
it
think it's
just here for DRM? Like is that the only reason I have this thing?
kind of
It's like,
that kind of transitions interestingly to a story in the news that came about recently with gaming, where specifically Alan Wake, a game from, geez, 5 years ago, six,
Yeah.
yeah, 5 or 6 years ago, it has been announced that that game will not be sold. Not actually, and I'm sure like many people kind of misread the story. I thought it would just like if anybody who even downloaded it was going to lose it. But instead of the case, they will not sell any more copies of this game as of a certain date. So it's going to physical copies gone. You can't go to Steam and buy it because I believe Gavin, you might have a better story on it. I understand it's a licensing issue with music.
Yeah, the music in the game it was only licensed for a certain period of time. I don't think they actually had it set in the contract to be in perpetuity. So like because of that, um, that expired, and I imagine the publisher was just like, well, we we couldn't afford to pay for in perpetuity license from the content provider back then, and how much would it be to extend the license? And they were probably like, it's going to cost you this much. And then the developers of Alan Wake were like, well, what are our projected sales past this point? Like, this game's pretty old. Not many people are buying it anymore. And it's like, do we pay to keep this alive for the 12 people who might buy it this year? Or do we let this thing, like, is everybody who has enjoyed it have it already? Is everybody cool? All right, well then we can close up shop. Um, from what I believe, for what I understand is that like yeah, if you bought the game, like it's yours. Like I have a copy on Steam, um, and uh, I believe like I should still be able to re-download it to my hard drive because I do have it. Like they can still support that content, they just can't
sell new.
um, sell it to new users. So, and it's the same with like abandonware games and stuff where it's like the games are so old that like people don't even care that they're sale. Like the people who had the licenses and stuff, like the licenses expired, but then they just it's nobody cares because they're just antiques now. So you see that a lot with like online you can find a lot of abandonware games. Um, yeah, it's licensing is a weird thing because the same thing happened with, or a similar thing happened, I should say, with Deadpool a few years back. I think it was in 2015. It was when Disney acquired Marvel, um, and during that there was some licensing issue with Deadpool, especially with the Deadpool video game, and they had to pull all the copies off the shelves. They had to pull it from the online storefronts and everything. Deadpool the game disappeared, and anybody who was lucky enough to snag a copy, because apparently it's a fun game, um, that was it. That was their copy. But they wouldn't sell any new copies. And then after the dust settled from all of that transition between Marvel and Disney, a couple of years later, boom, it's back up on the eShops and all that. And I think you can actually buy physical copies for like the PS4 and Xbox One. So it was like this weird little like everything's fine. So you never know. Like maybe there'll be like uh, an Alan Wake Praetorian edition come out like 3 years from now,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Fooled ya! We did buy the license, but we
Suckers.
saved
We just it's all just marketing, so it's just this big ploy to get people to
yeah,
gotta buy this now. I'll never get it again. And then they release it like like you said, 5 years. The
exactly.
grand
I think
remastering.
it all comes down to like licensing is basically the right to use material, right? So like for a game company, they have all these different assets that come in, and usually it's a work for hire contract with the people providing the content, which means whatever work you do for us while you're with us, it's our property. It's very common practice. It happens like with comic books and movies and everything. On occasion, though, especially with music that was created for something other than the game, like music that was just created for the sake of creating music, for example, like with bands and stuff, when they go to license that music, um, sometimes that's just for a shorter duration of time, especially if like the publisher doing the game only had a certain budget for licensed music, and that budget could only acquire them a few years of usage, as opposed to larger studios which might be able to just buy the usage of that outright, for the lifespan of the game, however long that is. I'm not sure like how Grand Theft Auto does it. I'm guessing that they are pretty adamant about having unlimited usage rights to the content that they purchase. Um,
I read into the Grand Theft Auto because I was curious.
yeah.
I was like,
Oh yeah.
it's got a whole radio system, right?
Here's Jeff with
Tons,
the hot scoop.
tons, right? Now, what blew my mind is that back in the day on PS2, I played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Like, loved it. Awesome game, great track. Every radio station had its own like hip hop, R&B, pop, everything. I downloaded it on iOS, so an iPhone game for like $6 a couple of years ago because I wanted San Andreas on my iPhone because that's awesome. And I was playing around with it and it's pretty good, right? All the stations work, everything. So when Alan Wake came up, I'm like, well, what other games has had this happen? Apparently, in San Andreas on the iPhone, they just got rid of like 15 tracks or something. So when I was playing it, I never really noticed because I don't know, I figured it was just randomized, like the radio system is all like random songs come on. So I'm like, no, maybe it, it just didn't happen. But apparently on the Steam version, they just released a patch and it just took all those away. So it was
Whoa.
like an underhanded, like, oh no, they're gone. Like they only had a 7-year license for these games, so they
Wow.
didn't know if the shelf life would last for 7 years, and
So
they just
my DVD of San Andreas for the PC that's kicking
yeah, don't
around,
update it.
Get
Yeah,
the patch.
there you go.
I should hold on to that. Is what
You
you're saying.
should.
That's
That's
yeah.
yeah,
It goes
that's
to show like physical copies and their value.
right. Right. So what's the next step, right? Like I've invested a lot in digital just because like I'm lazy. I don't care to go out to a store and buy it.
Yeah.
Even though Amazon can ship to your door. Usually digital is just easier. It's there. I can buy it in, 1 second, and a couple hours later I can at least play like the first part of it.
Mhm.
So it's just, I don't know what they've said that when you actually download the digital version, it says like Sony is licensing it to you. So they can
Yeah.
revoke that at any time, which, blah, 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 terms of service, whatever. Like, I don't care. Okay, give me the game. So I guess they could yank it out from you with some flack, I'm sure. I don't think they'll ever do it, but it might be the same scoop.
It just feels like this is the first time. Like I'm curious to see where this goes because like if you wanted to show your kid, you bought this game way back when, and you want to show it to them, and now you go back, it's like, but I bought this, like I had it in my Steam library or my PlayStation.
Yep.
And especially like at our age, like the ages of our kids, where any really great, like we want to show them Journey, like it. Like you got to see this. Like this was fantastic. Like
that won't work. Yeah, with the connection on that won't work.
Well, okay, maybe not necessarily in the connection thing. Even like Last Light or like anything, not Last Light, First Light, Second Son, right? Gravity Rush, like any of these things. You're just like, I still love this game, and I just want you to experience it too. So here it is, and it's removed from your library. Like that's the threshold around. You have a physical copy of it. Okay, like you're.
Well, no, good example though. PT, right? That demo, right? They yanked that out of the store, and I saved it on my hard drive just in case, and it's not back in there. So that's one example of they just pulled it. They just didn't want it there anymore. Like Konami said, nope.
Yeah. The one I'm waiting for though is like when it's like you had it in your library
and it disappears.
But then there was just such a massive licensing problem that it's no longer in your library. Like you can't even download it if you wanted to. It. Mm-hmm. Like I said, like if
never know.
I don't know about you guys. Obviously I haven't. Myself, my friends, I never really saw much of like a passing of the torch of games. Like I didn't have any friends who like received like a great game package from their dad, who like played a whole lot. Like,
here you go, son. It's just hard drives.
Here you are, my son. It's just like it's hard drives. It's just a piece of paper with a username and password for Steam.
They don't even have hard drives in the future. They're just like, what do I do with this?
But
that's the thing too. We assume that people are going to want our junk. It's like
baseball cards, right? It's just like
you can't walk up to like a 14-year-old and get them stoked to give them an N64 with Mario Kart. Like,
man, that'd be awesome with GoldenEye.
Yeah. Because they would look up at you, they'd look away from their Switch long enough to look at you and give you like a what are you talking about? And they go back to playing the new Mario Kart.
Yeah. Or the old one that got re-released for more money. Yeah, I suppose. I guess
too is it's an entertainment medium. It's if you want it as a collector's item, then get the collector's edition. If you want to experience it much like most entertainment mediums, like with like television and stuff, like sure you could record everything off of your TV. You'd have like a warehouse full of old VHS tapes, whatever, I guess, if you want to, if you feel like hoarding the content. But I think a lot of times with digital media, it is more of like paying for your ticket. It's just a very long ticket. It's a semi-permanent ticket, but it's still a ticket. It's not a physical possession. It's a license to use. If you want a physical possession of it, like there are avenues to do that. But with this particular medium, it's like the difference between people who like vinyl and collect vinyl, but also still have a digital music collection. That digital music collection is like, yeah, these are songs I like, them great. If a few of them disappear, it's not the end of the world. Their vinyl collection, if somebody sneezes near it, they'll lose their mind. So it's which of your collection is most precious to you? Like what components are worth keeping, and what are worth, what won't really ruin your day if they're not there.
Mm-hmm. I just think if there ever had been a argument where like games could be something that was like passed on, like from within a family, much like a vinyl collection that you could inherit from your father or like a mother. If there ever had been a thought of it, and I'd never heard of it, but if there had ever been a thought that like, oh, you could inherit or pass along games to
your Steam account number.
Even if it had ever been a thing, it's just like the way like the way the current conversations are going is just like, yeah, that's not.
No, yeah.
This is not a thing. Like I don't know that this medium will have any permanence enough to like last any type of generation from anything we're seeing.
No.
Yeah. If anything, too, it's like it'd be almost better suited to have some form of a licensing immune archive. like at least just some way of preserving the content and not having its existence disappear due to a legality because
Hmm.
somebody didn't want to pay somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't. It'd be like if a few Renaissance paintings never made it to the Uffizi because the Medici family was like, well, the terms of use for this fresco is gone, so somebody get a chisel and rip it off the wall.
I patented that red you used to take out all the red.
Yeah, exactly. Pantone kicks in the door of the Louvre and starts ripping down anything using their Pantone color. Yeah, it's weird. It's like trying to figure out where legal right of use and uh, archival permanence, um, where they sit. And when we get into like a digital medium, like whether it be comic books or video games or film or what have you, how do we archive that to share it with future generations, not just our own kids, but the next generation of people who will be making this content. They need to see where it started. Much like a art history museum for an artist, like we need stuff that helps us see our past. And if it all just sort of gets, deleted because of some thing in the contract that didn't quite get signed right, it'd be a shame. And if we could, yeah, I just
Yeah,
it
it's
would be
just
really bad.
not just how quickly things can go down when some parties hold licenses that can kill.
Oh my god. It's because I mentioned Goldeneye, isn't it?
Yeah, just
Oh, yes.
it's kind of a softball. Like, well, everybody, I think we'll wrap it up on that note.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can find us on our website at newdadgaming.com. We'd love to hear from your show ideas, questions, thoughts, anything you'd like to send our way. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our podcasting to our podcast either through iTunes or Google Play, as well as many other podcasting services. You can reach out to us on Facebook and Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. This is going well. And as always, we'd love a rate, a subscribe, and if you could pass it along to a new dad who games. Until next time, my name is Trevor, and I have a 2-year-old and one on the way.
My name is Gavin. I have a 1.5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Very good. Thanks, gents. Have a good week.
See ya.
Bye.
Watch this episode before we yank it.
We didn't buy the rights to the music.
Yeah, you guys only have license for my voice on this track.
Copyright claim.
My views expire.
We'll have to go through. The best part is like we still own his image, so we just have to go through and like replace it with another voice.
Redub it. Okay.
Just redouble.
I've never thought that really the licensing was all that important.
Yep.
We'll just like we'll shoot you up 4 octaves and like we'll get past it.
Yeah, just find an edit loophole.
It'll be like that. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like the Ghetto Paw Patrol videos on YouTube.
Ghetto Paw Patrol. Wow.
So to get past the content.
The algorithm or whatever.
The algorithm, yeah. So the worst I saw is they slowed it down. I don't know, Ryder.
So it couldn't pick up the words? That's funny.
Whoa. And then they added like a bubble. So like the bubble effect to the video. So the whole thing is like bulging in the middle of the screen and it's slow motion. And it's just like, what? Like,
why would you watch it?
Why would your kid watch that? Your kid's gonna be like, oh my god.
The only reason I saw it because my kid was watching it.
That's like
my wife had found it on YouTube and just put it on, and he was fine with it. I'm like, all right, well, it's one way to get it, I guess. Like, we have Netflix. Like, we don't have to do this. It was painful. It was hard to watch. So, anyways, that's how we'll get around you, Gavin. Don't worry.
Fair enough. I wonder if Alan Wake can get around its thing with a just hire a cover band or something.
Or just go full bore like Kevin. Play something like Benny Hill music. Like,
No, you can't sing it all though, Trevor. We don't have the license to use Yak.
Oh, that's
Yeah, they'll pick up on it.
yeah.
They'll
Those
be
6
honest.
notes, I stopped just short.
Just shy. Yeah.
Just shy.
You know what the worst of it is for? It's and I noticed it on Netflix. Scrubs. Have you watched Scrubs?
No.
Yeah.
They changed 8 songs in there that completely changed the comedy. And it's only the Netflix ones, and I won't watch it because it completely changes the moment.
Wow.
So it's stupid because of the licensing.
Like, it's not even the same tone. Like they're that
No,
deaf?
I will go find the song list and what they replaced it with, and if you've seen it before, you'll understand. You'll be like, no, that wasn't.
So like it'd be like if they replaced the classic like Seinfeld like thing,
Yeah.
thing going on.
Yeah, with like beer bottle. Like,
The Tommy Jug music, perfect.
not the same.
Oh,
Actually, now I want to see that.
yeah.
Coming up.
I think we need some jug music in our intro. Let's be honest.
Yeah.